Hey everyone, happy Tuesday, and it's Giving Tuesday. So I wanted to give you a few tools and tips for how to deal with criticism. It's something we all encounter, unfortunately, and it's especially anxiety causing this time of year because we are spending more time with family and maybe with people at parties that we normally don't want to interact with, like with coworkers or neighbors who unfortunately tend to be a little critical. So maybe you have an aunt who's always criticizing your weight, or your parents are worried about your job or your choice in girlfriends or boyfriends, even how you dress, whatever it is. It hurts because it immediately triggers this pain and doubt about ourselves and our decisions. And it can hit especially deeply with parents because it's been reinforced over our lifetime. And this is because we're driven by two universal fears, all of us. The first is the fear of not being loved. We all need to be loved. And the second is the fear of not being enough. So this is why we get so caught up in wanting other people's approval, especially our parents. This is why criticism hits us so deeply, is because we want to be loved and we want to be enough. And it's easy to doubt ourselves when this happens because it's been reinforced. So it's a tough one. So I want to help you deal with this, hopefully survive and thrive through the holidays, enjoy your holidays. And there are a couple easy ways to do this. The first thing to know, it's really important, is that criticism almost always is coming from a place of fear. And it's usually one of two things. The criticizer is either fearful about your well being, or the criticizer is worried about his or her own well being. So it's fear based. And there are ways to neutralize this. So the first one, let's say the criticizer is worried about your well being. It could come across something like your dad saying, John, I don't know why you decided to quit your stable job with the accounting firm and go with this startup. It seems super risky. What if it fails? How are you going to get health insurance? All of these things. Or your parents may criticize, or your aunt may criticize your choice in girlfriends and think the person is not good enough or is bringing you down in some way. Um, Many different things. It's important to know this is actually coming from a place of care and concern. The person wants you to be okay. The person wants you to be happy and safe. So this is what you do. The person's looking for reassurance. That's why they're criticizing. So you need to reassure them. You simply say, Dad, I have it under control. It was a planned and risk to go with the startup, but I have money saved, and we have these business plans in place. It's going to be okay. I'm not worried about it. I can always go back and interview for jobs in my previous industry. Or with the girlfriend situation, you can tell your Aunt Sally, whatever your aunt's name is, say, I appreciate your concern about my girlfriend Beth, but she's giving me X, Y, and Z in the relationship. And those are the things I value most in looking for a partner. So I'm really happy. And let's say the person's worried that your girlfriend doesn't have a high paying job. You can say, it doesn't matter to me. The person's loving, caring. I get a lot of support and humor, whatever. The person's looking for reassurance. Hi, Noelle. And all you have to do is tell them that you got it under control. You have it planned. And then at the end of it, you can say, so I have it under control, so we don't need to talk about this again. It's all great. And that sets a boundary. So then you're not going to have criticism in the future. So hopefully that helps. Okay, so that's number one. That's if the fear is about your well-being. The second type of criticism is about fear about him or herself. And this again goes back to that fear of not being enough. So let's say you have a boss or a coworker who's so nasty to work with, is always criticizing, is just unhappy, unpleasant, snarky. Um, or let's say your mother criticizes how you dress and says, you know what, you always dress like a homeless person, or you wear too much makeup. This is coming from a place of not having significance. So the coworker or boss I just mentioned, that person is not feeling like he or she can do the job, or is doing a good enough job, maybe jealous of you. The mother who's criticizing how you look is probably really tied up into how other people think about her. And that's because she's not getting significance or connection from something deep and important, and probably feels like she's not being needed as a mother anymore. So, the thing to do with this situation, which seems counterintuitive because you've just been ripped apart by this person, is to make the person feel needed and of use and service and significant. So, for the work situation, maybe try complimenting the person. Be like, you know, thank you for including me in that project. I think the way you handled it with the client was so great. Do you have any advice for how I could do that? So make them feel good, pump them up a little bit, throw them a bone. For the mom who's like maybe criticizing your dress, say, well, what would you recommend? Like, what should I buy? It doesn't mean you have to actually go and buy it, but the person feels good. Good, Noelle, that's awesome. Um, so yeah, so it's these people are feeling insecure. They're not feeling good about themselves. They're asking for significance and reassurance. So try it. Now, if that doesn't work, you can also try to remember to have sympathy for the person, because the person's not doing well. This person's not happy. If you can try to, empathize or sympathize, it kind of makes them seem a little more human and less scary and mean. So you can either ignore it, which is sometimes hard to do, or maybe have a humorous answer. So if your mom says, you know what, you always dress like a bum, maybe try something like saying, you know what, homeless chic is the new fashion trend, mom. So I'm totally great. So that's another way to deal with the critical person who's having his or her own fears. The last resort, I would say, if these other things don't work, is just try to limit your interactions with the person as much as possible. Unfortunately, some people are just nasty. They just can't um, get in touch with why they're doing it and why they're lashing out. So hopefully, this was helpful to you guys, and it's clear that criticizing is always coming from a place of fear. It's really not about you. And the key is to use a couple of these techniques to take control of the situation and trust that you are always making the right decisions. So hopefully that helps. And if you think anyone else could benefit from this, please feel free to share it. If you want to connect more on this, I have a couple other ideas and techniques that work really well. So feel free to reach out. And have a great Tuesday. Hope you all had a great Thanksgiving if you're in the US. And I will talk to you guys soon. Thanks.